Today we're gonna be talking about foolproof, why we fall for misinformation and how to build immunity, how to be aware of misinformation and fake news, how to protect yourself from this, your family, your friends, what techniques do people use to create this fake news, misinformation, to manipulate people, etc. etc. If you want the summary, there is a PDF in the description. So let's get to it. Firstly, what is misinformation? There is a difference between misinformation and disinformation. Misinformation is when some type of information is wrong, right? Is not correct. And then disinformation is coupled with some type of manipulative technique, like emotional or whatever, in order to make you believe that is true. The author, Sander van Linden, he was a social psychologist known for his research on human judgment, communication and decision making. But he is particularly recognized for his work on social influence, misinformation, and how to counterattack it. So I'm gonna divide this in 3 stages, as he did. Firstly, we're gonna talk about the viruses of the mind, right? Which is misinformation. Why does it spread this fast? Second, we're gonna be talking about the infodemic, how misinformation virus spreads, and part 3, a psychological vaccine against misinformation. So firstly, misinformation is all around, social media, newspapers, everything. So we wanna try to identify what it is exactly. For example, there are a lot of fake news that they are affected by our motivation trigger, which is basically you may hear a fake news that supports your politic motivation. So as it is supporting your point of view, even though it's not probably right, you will still believe it because it's supporting an argument, a way of thinking you have in your brain. So this leads to the truth effect, the illusory truth effect, which basically means that the more you see something, the more you believe is true, even though it isn't. For example, I think, I'm going to give you an example, probably this happened to you too. The High Smile, right? The teeth whitening product. At the beginning, the first 10 times I saw it, 15 times I saw it, I couldn't believe it. It wasn't true. What happened? I ended up buying it. Why? Because I saw it so many times in my Instagram, used by so many people. I ended up buying it because I said, okay, if so many people is doing it and they are spending such big amount in marketing, I guess it must work, right? So I bought it. However, they do it as well by showing videos and images. When you show images and videos, the public, the target, is more likely to believe what they are seeing. However, it's true that the more educated you are, the harder it is for you to believe fake news. Limitations why people prefer to believe fake news rather than original data and real data is because sometimes science is harder, is more complex to understand. However, fake news are easy to understand. They are made for everyone to understand. And if you think about it, fake news, conspiracies, they are all made around things that are relevant to everyone, right? Why they don't create a conspiracy about the supermarket in front, I don't know, selling whatever, selling drugs? Why? Because people really don't care how many people know about the supermarket. Not a lot, right? So they want to talk about facts and topics that a lot of people is aware and a lot of people care about and are keen to know more on something. And in addition, most of the conspiracies, if you think about it, they are all negative, right? They are not positive. They are all the government. Me personally, I must admit that I used to believe some kind of conspiracies and etc. until I read this book, which I start to understand a lot of the things. In addition to the motivation cognition, I wanted to add the confirmation cognition, which they go hand by hand, which means basically that as it is agreeing with your point of view and confirming and adding strength to your point of view and your argument is more likely that you believe it. So three key ways in which conspiracies deviate from scientific theories is believing in one conspiracy serves as an evidence for another. So you say people are trying to control us. This is the first conspiracy. So second conspiracy, they say they are making electric cars so they have more control over us. They are linking together. Okay? They go hand by hand with each other. Secondly, a lot of people need to be involved to keep it secret, right? So it's like it doesn't really make sense. For example, with COVID, a lot of people said COVID was fake, but how many people were actually working in hospitals every day, seeing all the people dying? At least in Spain, I used to think as well that COVID maybe was fake, it was the government or whatever, but then like how many people were working in each hospital all around Spain, and they were gonna keep this secret? It doesn't really make a lot of sense. And thirdly, it's not a theory, it's simply attributing evilness or evil to random coincidences that happen, let's say, or ways of seeing something, right? But there are three reasons why, three psychological needs these conspiracy theories cover. First one is epistemological, which is basically the desire to make sense of the world around us. We could say religion as well cover this need and many other things, which is basically having a sense in this life. People need to have in control. They need to feel in control. This is the way we are wired biologically. That's why a lot of the people turn into religion, because it's the easiest way, instead of understanding the science behind it and living maybe with the uncertainty of knowing what is really life about. Secondly, existential relief. People want to have control over the narrative and world's events. So by simply accusing someone of a certain event or something bad that happened, they already feel better by saying, okay, this happened because of this, even though they don't really know. But by thinking themselves, this is all psychologically behind in your brain. By yourself thinking, this is the reason you feel more in control of yourself, you feel calmer. And thirdly is relational needs. The fact of belonging to a community, this is so strong. It doesn't happen only in fake news, it happens with multiple topics all around the world, in all the industries. People want to feel being part of a community. The community of thinking that the government wants to control us, that or climate change doesn't exist, or the earth is flat. There are many communities that they work and they feel in the same way all together. Now let's talk about the 7 traits of conspirational thinking. We're gonna use the acronym CONSPIRE to understand 7 traits that people who support and spread fake news and conspiracy theories generally have in their arguments or in the way of speaking, etc. First of all, the C of conspire is contradictory. Their argument contradict each other. Lack of evidence, maybe, let's say. So they say something that before they agreed or they disagreed on, simply because they weren't thinking properly, maybe. Secondly, the O, which is overriding suspicious, and basically is promoting distrust toward the scientific method or the source. They don't believe it. They say it's not good evidence enough, let's say a consensus of scientific approved. They don't believe it. Thirdly, for the letter N of conspire, N is nefarious intent, which basically accuses scientists or others who support the consensus of having hidden, often evil, motivations or motives, reasons to do it. Then letter S, number 4 of conspire, is that something is wrong. So they assert that because a situation seems too complex or unbelievable, the scientific consensus surrounding it must be flawed, it must be wrong. simply because they don't understand it or it's too complex for them to understand. Then letter 5, which is persecuted victim. They feel that they are in danger. They feel that they are part of a group, or himself or herself is a victim of an unjust campaign of mainstream media or big corporations or whatever. Then letter I of conspire is immunity to evidence. So they dismiss or ignore any evidence that contradicts one's perceived beliefs or narratives. They are close-minded. They don't want to hear anything that make them think in a different way. Doesn't matter which type of evidence you bring, they will not care about it. And lastly, R and E, they go together, of conspire, and is reinterpreting randomness. So misinterpreting random or natural variations as proof that there is no consistent pattern or cause. And this is often downplayed to establish scientific theories. So whenever you are talking with someone or you listen to someone, try to remember the word conspire and think how many of these traits they are using in their argument or when they are speaking. So now let's talk about infodemic, second part of the book. How does this virus or virus spread? There are many ways of spreading this fake news and conspirational theories. Why do they spread? Do they spread faster due to social media? Is social media a problem of this fast spread of fake news? Firstly, it is. It spreads faster due to social media, 100%. But these people were already believing this kind of fake news and conspiracy theories, even though social media will not agree. The only thing that it would maybe stay in a much smaller group of people. So there are echo chambers and filter bubbles in social media, okay? Echo chambers is basically a social situation in social media where individuals are exposed only to information and posts that mirror their way of thinking. And this typically occurs, for example, in online spaces like Instagram or whatever, and they share content and receive and consume content that reinforces their existing beliefs. In addition, there are filter bubbles. They could be especially inside these echo chambers, which is basically the algorithm used in social media. They selectively choose the post and content you get offered, that you are exposed to, because they follow what you like, what you don't like. Therefore, they give you 10 options. But let's say due to what you like and what you follow and the people you follow liked, they will offer some posts. But as you are in an echo chamber that most of the people you have in your social media, let's say the people you follow and they follow you, kind of have the same way of thinking, the same in real life, right? If you think about it, most of the people you surround yourself have a similar way of thinking like you. So the filter bubble basically is the options you have are due to what you like to see. So really they don't show you the other evidences, the other side of the debate or the argument, right? According to scientists, they say that the truth took 6 times longer to reach 1,500 people than fake news. They use some techniques such as shallow fake videos, which basically is cutting a part of the video from a full long video and spread it, making people think that is something unreal. For example, you see, they did an advertisement where they were promoting safety by the government. This was a campaign made by the government, right? And they were trying to make people aware of the danger of people kidnapping kids So they made a full video where they kidnapped the kid and all the other kids that were around weren't able to do anything, blah blah. But then the guys on the motorcycle that took the kid, that kidnapped the kid, came back and left the kid. However, some people cut the video from where these two guys in the motorcycle kidnapped this guy, this little boy, and that's it. And they carried before the motorbike comes and leave the kid because it was all planned. It was a campaign made by the government in India. So people spread it, and this caused like 6 deaths. They killed actually people thinking that they were the kidnappers on the video. This was all due to a shallow fake. In India, this is something that happens and apparently and is very bad. And this comes again, maybe I guess, to the lack of education. They are not really aware of identify what is true. They believe everything they see, especially if they are new to the digital world. They don't really know how it works. They believe everything they see. But now let's go to the important stuff. How do we protect ourselves, our family, friends from all of this fake news, misinformation, everything? So there are 6 degrees of manipulation that they use in order to make us think and believe fake news. Let's use the word depict as an acronym. So firstly, the D is discrediting. It's a technique that deflects attention away from accusations by attacking the source of the criticism. Let's say Le Monde, a French newspaper, said or criticized something. Then the people, instead of looking at the evidence that they provided, they directly attack to the source, and they say that they don't believe the source is part of the government, etc. Secondly, E, the letter E from depict, is emotion. They use emotion to get people reeled up in their headlines everywhere. So people get attracted to what they are saying using emotions, generally negative emotions. Then is polarization, the P from depict, letter number 3, polarization. They want to drive people apart. They want to create different segments. In this book, they talk about firstly how they use all of this in political campaigns. There was a company, even though there is nothing confirmed, let's say, but it's called Cambridge Analytica, and basically what he says and what they talk about is how they, for example, help Trump and many other politicians to spread their campaign using this type of manipulation techniques, right? And analyzing data, offering to different people. However, social media doesn't confirm or accept that they are providing this information specifically to manipulate people. So they want to drive people apart. Russia has a huge amount of bots and trolls all over the internet trying to make people apart. The difference between a troll and bot, basically, for those of you that don't know, bot is basically a machine which writes messages, creates account in social media, and then a troll is an account that do the same thing as a bot, but they have a human touch. Okay, they make it real. That's a real troll because they kind of troll you. They make you think they are someone which in reality they aren't. Bot is simply a machine. Sometimes, most of the times, maybe they are easy to identify. Then the letter I for impersonation. So they closely mimic someone, name or image to seem real. For example, there was a tweet that had like 100 million views on Twitter like a couple of years ago, and the name was Donald Trump. Instead of MP, it was NP. So and it had the same logo, the same profile picture, everything. So people believed it. It was reshared by famous people, influencers, celebrities, everything. So this is called impersonation, this technique, using a name from someone known, face, or whatever. Then we go to letter C, which is conspiracy. Conspiracies are always negative and about things that a lot of people care. What I said at the beginning, all the conspiracy theories are negative. They focus on topics that a lot of people care. They don't do conspiracy theories of the, I don't know, the King of England is trying to give or donate $30 million to everyone without us noticing. Those are not the conspiracy theories. Of course, it's nonsense, but if you think about it, all of them are negative. And then lastly, letter T is trolling. So it's basically posting emotional material in an attempt to manipulate public perception or provoke a response from a user. So they comment in your post or in other people's posts, answering back to you, making you feel bad or whatever, making you want to answer them back and enter in a conflict. So the people are more influenced when they are not confident in their ability to distinguish fact from fiction. The same as not being really educated, they are not able to identify because they have a lack of knowledge, a lack of evidence in their head. As well, some of the things that another technique they use is false dichotomy, I think it says. So with headlines or whatever, they make you think that there are only two options for you when actually there are more. So for example, they can say in a headline, why are we spending so much money in immigrants, health insurance or whatever when we have millions of American homeless, let's say. So when you first hear this, you say, actually, if we have so many homeless, why are we caring so much about immigrants that they don't even live here or lived here? But then you say, but wait, we can actually help both, right? Why not? So it's this type of questions that make you think that there are only two options when there are normally more. So how to inoculate your friends and family? There are different types. Basically, one of them is fact-based inoculation, which basically you tell your family or friends that about a certain piece of fake news that they are about to receive. So you tell them like, I'm gonna receive this, you are gonna receive this type of fake news, is spreading everywhere, be aware that is something wrong, that is not real. And then secondly is technique fact-based inoculation, which is basically making them aware in general of all of these techniques that they're happening, like what I'm doing now to you, and being aware of all the information that is not real and how to identify it, right? Yeah, and then there are two ways. There is active inoculation and passive inoculation. Active inoculation is basically experimenting and identifying for real and getting the answers of what are fake news and what are real news. And secondly is passive, by just listening or understanding some stuff that may be true or not. Even me, at the beginning, before reading this book, I was kind of believing a lot of conspiracies and maybe some fake news that I saw on social media, YouTube, Instagram, internet or whatever. But after reading this, it really changed my way of thinking and viewing things. So I hope you like it. There are more books coming soon, history, probably biology, little bit of everything. The summary is in the description, and I hope you like it.